discussed the Kayanupassana section, that the contemplation of the body, observation of the body part in the morning, in 6 steps. We discussed the Anapanasati section, breathing section, then the 4 postures, then all the activities, then anatomical parts and elements, and after that we concluded with the 6th one, which is the corpse in decay. Thus all the 6 steps in the establishment of mindfulness with regard to the body. That is what we did. And now we are going to observe how to practice Vedananupassana, observing the feelings. That is the second way to establish your mindfulness. How does a monk remain observing on feelings? That is a question asked by the Buddha. Here a monk, when feeling a pleasant feeling, when you feel a pleasant feeling, he understands. That is the important word. So it connects with the word pajanati right here. That means you need to understand, see, understand that I feel a pleasant feeling. Do you have to react to it? You have to be attached to it? You don't have to do anything, but you will just understand it is a pleasant feeling. Then when you feel a painful feeling, you understand it is a painful feeling. When you feel a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, sometimes you have neither painful nor pleasant. You can say this is pleasant or painful. It is just a feeling. It's neither painful nor pleasant. Then you understand, it's like the feeling of indifference. It's neither painful nor pleasant. And that you understand as neither painful nor pleasant feeling. When feeling a worldly pleasant feeling, what is worldly pleasant feeling? It's explained here. What makes it worldly? That which belongs to one's flesh, body, and in identification with the pleasant feeling. So you have identification that this is I, experiencing the pleasant feeling. So that is what you are observing here when you feel. So now feelings usually are 3 types: pleasant, painful, and neither painful nor pleasant. But we are going little bit further to observe whether it is worldly pleasant feeling or not. Worldly in the sense, in Pali, it's called samisa. This word. Samisa here means you feel it within the body. And now let's go a little further, then it makes us we feel clearer. When you feel a worldly pleasant feeling, you know that it is a worldly pleasant. You understand it is a worldly pleasant feeling. And when feeling an unworldly pleasant feeling, see, unworldly pleasant feeling is joy without having anything to do with your own world. It's not your joy. It's just a joy. Got it? That is what it means. So it comes out of experiencing a very good meditation state. It could be somewhere you go beyond your material state. You go beyond your body and you experience some joy. You know, one of the Brahma Viharas is joy, the 3rd one. And you can radiate it to all beings. It is very supreme. Then there is another type, when feeling an unworldly pleasant. So we discussed that. When feeling a worldly okay. So the same 3 types of feelings we see: unworldly painful feeling, and here when feeling a worldly neither painful nor pleasant feeling, you understand that. And when feeling unworldly neither painful nor pleasant feeling, you understand that. So, without going too far to think what is this, it's better to see whether you can recognize these feelings. The feelings that you feel within the body and the feelings that you recognize not within the body, actually within your world, within your, the way that you grasp things, and things, the joy or feelings that arise that you can't really grasp as yours with no identification, and that you understand that this is a joyful feeling or unpleasant feeling, that sometimes you have meditation pain, just a meditation pain, and you understand that. There you don't recognize it as yours. It's not in your world. So that way you can understand what happens in your feeling process. This is how feelings work. So that is all about feeling. That is Vedanānupassana. How did we discuss it? We can go back to it. In Vedanānupassana you have what? You have Sukhang Vedana, pleasant feeling. You have Dukkhang Vedana, painful feeling. You have Adukkama Sukhang Vedana, which is neither painful nor pleasant feeling. And then you have Samisang Sukhang Vedana, worldly pleasant feeling. And Niramisamba Sukhang Vedana, feeling an unworldly pleasant feeling. And Samisamba Dukkhang Vedana, feeling a worldly painful feeling. It can be painful. And Niramisamba Dukkhang Vedana, when feeling an unworldly painful feeling. And then you have Samisamba Adukkama Sukhang Vedana, worldly neither painful nor pleasant feeling. And Niramisamba Adukkama Sukhang Vedana, unworldly neither painful nor pleasant feeling. That is the end. So neither painful nor pleasant feeling is the third, which is felt unworldly. You can identify with it with yourself. That is the point. Which means you are experiencing non-self nature, that you are observing this as something that is not I, me, mine or myself. That is the understanding. Then we are going to observe, even with feelings, you have to have some insight practices, which means you have vipassana applied with feeling as well. So while you are observing your feelings, with regard to feelings, you can now observe it internally and externally. That this is felt internally, this is felt because of external objects, and now you see how feeling occurs. And now you see things arising and passing away, that the impermanence is there. Things won't stay forever. And then you also see that this is not my feeling. You stay unassociating the feelings. Like you didn't associate the body. With feelings also, you don't really take any feeling as yours. That is when you have some freedom. Eventually you are experiencing very nice, pleasant meditation experiences, and it is not you who experience it. Because your mindfulness is very much established when it comes to this level, and you see it as an observer, not as someone who's wanting to control it, not as with the intention of possessing it. You are just an observer. That is what you do. And now, observation of the mind. This is the third way to establish your mindfulness. See how much you have to do in meditation. You can just be doing Ānāpānasati every day. You have a whole lot of stuff that has to be done in order to understand this process. When you do it one time, that is enough. That is when you let go of Dhamma. Even the Dhamma has to be let go. It's like a ferry that helps you to cross over, and then you don't really carry it with you, do you? You keep it somewhere and you take your journey. That is what you do with Dhamma. How does he abide observing the mind? This is very, important. Saragamva Chittan understands a lustful mind to be lustful. When there is lust, you understand it. Do you have to get caught in it? No. Understands Vitaragamba Chittan, understands a mind without lust to be without lust. You don't have lust all the time, it comes and disappears. And that you understand now that my mind is free from lust right now. That kind of understanding. Vitaraga, actually when the lust has gone, that is the meaning. Not that you don't have lust, but it has disappeared. With some meditation, the lust won't occur for a couple of days. Sadosamva Chittan, when you have an angry mind with tension, kind of annoying feeling, and you understand it to be an angry mind. Vitadosamva Chittan, when the anger has gone, you understand now it's without anger. See, you need to be observing your mind in order to understand this. And when your mind is deluded mind is also a mind that takes everything personally, with self-identification. When you have that, you know your mind is deluded. And when your delusion has gone, when you become a real observer, very close to reality, seeing it as it occurs, then you understand the mind has no delusion and it is now free from delusion, temporary. And now this is, we are going a little bit further that. We first discussed Raga, Dvesha and Moha, lust, hatredness and delusion. In other words, you have so much desire and so much anger and you are deluded. You are caught in somebody else's world, or you are taking your world so personally and you can let go. And now things happen like this. You understand your mind is contracted. That means actually it says here, contracted mind is the mind that has sloth and torpor in it. When you feel sleepy, your mind is like contracted. You can't see things clearly. That kind of mind. And Vikittamva Chittang, he understands a scattered mind to be scattered. Scattered mind is a restless mind. You see, you are observing 5 hindrances. What are the 5 hindrances? Why they are called hindrances? It hinders the path to freedom, path to Nibbana. Because of that, we call them barriers. Lust is a barrier, anger is a barrier, restlessness is a barrier, sloth and torpor, the sleeping nature is a barrier. And having doubts whether this is right or not, those are the hindrances. You are now seeing them. Your mind is contracted, your mind is scattered. And Mahagatamma Chitta, your mind is exalted, pretty close to attain a jhana level sometimes. It's very exalted. So, but what does it say about exalted mind? Exalted mind is the mind that is in Rupa, in one of the 4 jhanas, in the Rupa jhanas. The first 4 jhanas, because you feel it with the body, you call them material jhanas. Okay? And now, Mahagata Chitta is a jhana that is touching or in a jhana. You know what jhanas are? In the talk yesterday, evening, I explained it a little bit. So, Jhanas are just levels of understanding. Yes. Could you speak up a little bit? Something like what? Levels of your mind? Good. They are levels of your minds. You are familiar with it. You have been, listening to Dhamma, so you know that something called jhanas are out there. Even though you are getting to know what they are now. So the first jhana, I can say, is the first level that we understand in our meditation with mindfulness. You don't have to be absorbed a lot. You have to have your awareness. If you are too much absorbed, too much focused, if something happens all of a sudden, you get shaken, frightened. If you have awareness on what is happening around you, then you are not getting frightened. You just understand it as, oh yeah, just that. You keep on going with meditation. So, in the first jhana, you have Vivicheva. So I will explain the first jhana a little bit here. Vivicheva kamehi. Vivicheva kamehi means you are free from karmas, free from sensual desires. At that time, you are actually detached from your seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and physical sensations and thinking in the mind. When you are detached from them, you are detached from the sensual desires. And vivicha akusalehi dhammehi. You are also free from unwholesome dhammas, unwholesome phenomena. What are them? They are the 5 hindrances. They are unwholesome. They bring you down. They pull you back and put you down. Because of that, you are free from them in this level, in this level of understanding. Because you have been practicing breathing meditation, understanding your body and all of that, and because of that understanding, you can be free from sensual desires and hindrances, but they can come back again. It's like you hide something under the rain. When the rain has ceased, the things that you have hidden comes out because of the rainy water. And now your defilements can come back and bother you. Then you have to polish yourself a little bit and go into jhanas and then have some freedom for a couple of days and be going with vipassana meditation or samatha both and be in a very good state of mind. So in the first jhana you also have vitakka vichara. Savitakkam savicharam. You have thinking and examining of thoughts. Also they translate it as applied and sustained thoughts. So you have your object of meditation, which can be loving kindness or breathing or whatever that you choose, and you apply your mind into that. And vichara, you have to little bit adjust it and keep it going. That is there in the first jhana, which means you are so mindful that you can stay with the object of meditation for a long time. And you have vivekajang piti sukham. Viveka is leisure. You are now experiencing some freedom, so that freedom is from your sense doors, because you are not seeing things from outside. Now you are just inside in the mind realm, and you are seeing. You are experiencing freedom. Because of that freedom, you have priti and sukha, joy and happiness. You have so much bliss that you feel in the body. Patama jhana upasampajja viharati. You enter to the first jhana and stay in that. Then you can become a master in the first jhana, so that you can determine to be there for 10 minutes, and exactly in 10 minutes, without having the help of the clock, you can come out from the first jhana. And then you can stay in the first jhana for 1 hour. So then now you are training to become a master, but that is not mandatory in the path to Nibbana. Because when you practice meditation, you see, you can observe jhanas coming and going. You are not controlling them. If the jhana wants to be there, you let it be. If the jhana disappears, you observe that. Just don't have to be the controller. It's like you are sitting, yesterday I told you this, you are sitting by the side of a lake and birds are coming and going, drinking water. You are not going to shake yourself and control anything so that you can see more beautiful birds coming and going. In meditation, you are not controlling anything. As soon as you start to control it, the beautiful experiences disappear. The controller is a disturbance. This can be a little tough, but this is how the first jhana is felt. It is like the Buddha gives a simile in many discourses that experience in the first jhana is like a very cool feeling, like the soap that is moistured, that you feel the moisture in any place that you touch, the coolness that you feel. Soap is usually a little bit, moistured, and even during those days it was moistured, and even now it is moistured, and it's so good. So that coolness is what you feel in the whole body. And that is what you are touching here when you are observing a Mahagata mind, an exalted mind. And sometimes a Mahagata mind comes. Here you understand that it is an unexalted mind. There is no expansion. And then there can be a surpassable mind, Sautarang Vachitang, and there can be unsurpassable mind. Sometimes the mind just stay put without going anywhere. And that mind, you understand it as it is. And Samahitang Vachitang, the collected mind, the mind which is not going here and there. Now the mind is collected. That you understand as a collected mind. And uncollected mind, when the mind has no samadhi, any peace there, then you understand now there is no peace and it's uncollected. And Vimuttam Vachittam, the mind that is liberated from something. Liberation is not final Nibbana unless you have the knowledge that there is no defilements coming back again. But now you have some liberation from your sensual world, and that you understand as a Vimutta, liberated mind. Avimuttam Vachittam, unliberated mind to be unliberated. You see, there are 16 mind tracks that you can keep track on, back and forth, in your Chittanupassana meditation. So we did Kayanupassana already, contemplation of the body. Vedananupassana we just did, and also Chittanupassana we finished it. See, many different minds, they all happen within you. Sometimes they won't happen if your energy is well established. Because even too much energy can cause you troubles. There was a lady, she is an American lady, in our Colombo retreat, and before starting the retreat they prepare for 3 months keeping their 8 precepts, and so she has been a yoga therapist. She has been experiencing too much energy, and that she didn't know how to handle with it. And then I told her to check with Mahasatchaka Sutta, where the Buddha is telling that his experience of having to handle with excess energy. And then arousing mindfulness is the way that you know before you have before you reach to too much energy. Then you can have the balance of your meditation and keep going peacefully. Because too much energy is also a problem. Okay. Even with that, you have to have your insights being practiced, vipassana being practiced. With regard to mind, you understand things internally and externally, how the mind works, how consciousness arises, how things arise and pass away, and you stay not taking it as you. It is not you that is doing whatever that does. It is just the nature. We are going to the last section of establishment of mindfulness. Insight is seeing in a special way. Insight, INSIGHT. And Visesena Passatiti Vipassana. Vipassana means seeing it in a special manner, not just seeing the skin as the skin. You see it from cell to cell. That kind of observing is, special seeing. I told you earlier that Vipassana and Samatha are inseparable. They work together with wisdom. Then, what you do usually is you are observing things as they arise and pass away. That is a special seeing. In the regular life, we are not observing that. We are getting caught in it. We just become a flow and keep going like a person. Now, when you close your eyes and simply observe things as they happen, you can even see now the consciousness arise and pass away. And there is no me in that thing which arose and passed away. And now you see contact arise, pass away. This happens, this is millions of feelings, millions of consciousnesses arising and passing away. You can now go closer to it and see it separate. You are not going to observe this, but you are observing what happens in the mind. When it slows down, it comes and shows to you what is really there. Not that you have to see it especially. It comes and appear in front of you, not like a person, but separate entities. You see the heap of feeling. You see the heap of formation. You can now even separate them, distinguish them from each other, and see now this belongs to the eye, this belongs to the nose, this belongs to the tongue. That is special seeing. And that is very easy after you learn how to do Dhammanupassana, the next way to establish your mindfulness on. Dhammanupassana goes little longer because it has 5 hindrances, 7 awakening factors, 4 noble truths, and 6 external and internal sense doors. And it also has to be discussed with 5 skandhas, 5 aggregates. And at the end, the Buddha says, if you do it exactly this way, this is going to bring you to the end of suffering. Let's see how successful we can go. So with regard to 5 hindrances, when you have any lust arising, when you have any anger arising, disappointment arising, dislikeness arising, what can you do? The answers are here in the Dhammanupassana section. He abides observing phenomena. So these are dhammas. Hindrances are dhammas. He abides observing phenomena in terms of 5 hindrances. And how does he abide observing phenomena in terms of the 5 hindrances? If sensual desire is present in him, he understands there is sensual desire in me. If sensual desire is not present in him, he understands that there is no sensual desire present in me. He understands how unarisen sensual desire can arise. When there is no unarisen sensual desire, you just need to look at take a look at your favorite person's picture maybe, and unarisen sensual desire. Now you see how it arises. How did it arise now actually? You had the eye, you had the physical form, and you had the eye consciousness. You were conscious on it, and you have eye contact. And now you have either painful, pleasant, or neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Do you understand that? Now you see how lust arise, how sensual desire can arise. There is no other way that it can arise. This is the only way. There is no need to play around it. This is why the Buddha says the Dhamma is within this body. Everything that you need to know is within you, not on the TV screen, not in any books, but within yourself. Okay. And now, and he understands how arising sensual desire can be removed. See, you are the one who understand. Now you have arising sensual desire. You know, if you stop looking at the things that brings you lust or any detachment or desire or anything, then you know the sensual desire will not arise. Now things come up in the mind. If you don't think of them, if you don't get caught in them, they will disappear eventually. That happens. Okay. And he understands how a future arising of the removed sensual desire can be prevented. How can you prevent it? Soon you recognize it, you release it, and you relax and arouse your mindfulness. If you are mindful, it won't arise again. And now, if aversion is present in him, he understands there is aversion. You go through the same procedure. You won't let it arise again. You know how to prevent it arising. Also, in the future, you know how to keep your mind without having aversion to be arisen in that mind state. With Tina Midda, if sloth and torpor is present in him, he understands that there is sloth and torpor, and you know how it came. How does sloth and torpor comes? When you have eaten too much, sloth and torpor comes. When you haven't eaten enough, sloth and torpor comes. When you are too tired, sloth and torpor comes. When you haven't slept enough, sloth and torpor comes. When you have slept too much, it comes. When you have exercised too much, or when it is too sunny and you spend time too much under the sun, the sleepiness comes. So many reasons there. Now you work on it to adjust a little bit, and it's like seeing a snake and not taking that path anymore, walking through a different direction. So you avoid the sloth and torpor, you avoid the snake. That's what you do. And worry. If restlessness and worry is present in you, you understand there is restlessness and worry. If doubt is present in you, you understand there is doubt. So with regard to 5 hindrances, you also keep observing how they arise internally and externally. You stay detached from them. You see how they arise and pass away altogether. And you don't recognize them as your sloth and torpor, your lust, your hatredness. It's not you. It's just a sloth and torpor only. Now, 5 hindrances are done. We go to 5 aggregates, Panchaskandha. So the first aggregate, they are called Panchupadanaskandha actually, clinging aggregates. These are the clinging aggregates. How do you abide observing phenomena in terms of the 5 clinging aggregates? You understand, such is material form, such is its arising, such its passing away. How does your material form arise? You are born and you have now material body. How does it stay? It keeps decaying and then one day it dies. That is how it arises and passes away. And also, do you know how these physical forms, the forms with your sense doors, how they arise? You have forms from the eye, ear, nose, tongue, the body and the mind. Through seeing, hearing, smelling, all these are forms that you experience, different forms. They are just forms. And you even see the nature of it, how they arise and pass away. And now with Vedana, with feeling, you did it earlier, which is an aggregate, a collection of feeling. So you see how feeling arise and how they stay and pass away. And now formations. What are the formations? The formations are the thought processes that you have created, the things that have been stored in your memory. that brings lust, hatred and delusion, and they are there. You bring them from birth to birth unless you work on them to remove them, to understand the nature of them. And it's an aggregate. And with vijnana, with consciousness aggregate, you have eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness and mind consciousness. Different consciousnesses, they all are an aggregate. With different things, different consciousnesses are rising and passing away. You understand that. That is the end of aggregates, and you do insight meditation within that without being attached to it. Now you understand 6 internal and external sense spheres. How do you do that? Again, monks, he abides observing phenomena in terms of the 6 internal and external sense spheres. This is so simple. I have been repeatedly telling this to you. How does he abide observing phenomena in terms of the 6 internal and external sense spheres? Here a monk, he knows the eye. He understands the forms. He understands the fetter that arises dependent on both. What is the fetter? Fetter is eye consciousness. You make a connection, a link. Because of the eye and forms, you have a connection. That is the fetter. It's like a bandhana, sanyojana. And he understands how the unarisen link can occur. Now, when you are listening to something, all the other sense doors are temporarily gone. And now it can occur again when you focus on something else through your eyes. And you are seeing consciously. Now you go back to hearing consciously, and you come back to seeing consciously or tasting consciously. All of them are not working all together, but you feel like they all work all together. That is the delusion that you have. Okay. And you understand how this unarisen link or the fetter that can arise, and how you understand how it can be removed if you stay eyes closed. It won't occur anymore. And how future rising of the removed fetter can be prevented. You even understand how to keep your mind intact so that you won't experience any further disturbance through your sense doors. This is not a difficult game. As you understand, when you simply understand how the process works, it's just a process for you. Now you are going to other sense doors. Ear and sounds. Please read these parts. Ear, underlined ones. Ear and sounds, nose and odors, tongue and taste, body and tangibles. With all these sense doors, and also the mind and the mental phenomena. Mind has your mind objects. Without having anything to work, the mind also in function. That's how you wake up from comas. The mind is in function. Okay? And you understand how each of them work. You have internally the object, and you externally grasp something, and you have consciousness and the contact and the feeling, and you keep going. Something else comes, and that too you understand how it came, whether it is through the ear, the nose, or whether with the mind or anything else. You see this arising and passing away phenomena, and now you are seeing another phenomena, that is 7 awakening factor. Observing 7 awakening factors. How are they called? Bojjhangas. These are the real painkillers during the Buddha's time. When someone was going through acute pain, even the Buddha, when he was sick, asked Venerable Chunda to recite the 7 awakening factors. So he was going through each stages, so that he went to deep meditation, and the body pain was there. It was not his pain. He could stay detached from it without fighting. Okay? So the 7 awakening factors. How does he abide observing phenomena in terms of the 7 awakening factors? Now the question is asked. The answers are here. Here, if the mindfulness awakening factor is present in you, so mindfulness is an awakening factor. And you know there is mindfulness awakening factor in you. And if the mindfulness awakening factor is not present in you, you know the mindfulness awakening factor is gone. Sometimes it doesn't stay, it goes away. And he knows how the unarisen mindfulness awakening factor can arise. How to arouse mindfulness? You know that. How? Just being mindful. That's it. Just observing how the mind's attention moves from one thing to another. You just observe it. And you also know how it can be perfected by development. If you keep doing what you have been doing, if you stay with your object of meditation, that is the way your mindfulness will be established. Investigation of phenomena awakening factor investigation of phenomena with regard to phenomena. This is called another awakening factor, which is called Dhamma Vichaya in Pali. What you are doing now is investigating Dhammas without forgetting to investigate them. If you now see hindrances, you see them as they are. If you happen to observe your conditions of the faculties, you see them as they are. If you happen to observe anything else, you observe it as it is without thinking that it is you. That is what you are doing. It's an awakening factor. It awakens you into many realities that you can stay very happy as you are catching the root of things rising. Okay? An energy awakening factor. When you have balance of energy, it awakens you. And the joy awakening factor, it also is awakening you. And Passaddhi awakening factor, tranquility. Tranquility is a state that you experience when the unification of mind has been achieved, that the body and the mind are in perfect balance. So joy is in the middle, and there are 3 here and 3 at the other side. When you place 3 each side, the one in the middle is balancing the 7. Got it? So what are the 3 that are before the joy that we just discussed? Mindfulness, investigation of phenomena, and energy. And then you comes joy. Then you have tranquility. You have samadhi and equanimity. Those are the awakening factors. So the joy is very important. Some people tell you not to have joy in meditation, which is wrong. When you see this part, you see joy is an awakening factor, that you will not be attached. If you are mindful, that you can just let it arise. Sometimes it says bhavetabbam bahulikatabam. You have to develop it a lot and multiply it. That is what you do. Samadhi, which is collectedness, and equanimity, upekha, the balance in the mind. Those are the 7 awakening factors. Let's go through the 7 again so that you know. I don't want to go fast and finish this. I just want you to understand this. So you have mindfulness awakening factor right here. Sati kiyala kiyanne ekata, we call it sati. And you have Dhamma Vichaya awakening factor, which is called investigation of phenomena. And you have energy awakening factor, which is Virya Sambojjhanga. Now this is Piti Sambojjhanga, which is joy awakening factor. And now Passaddhi Sambojjhanga, that is tranquility awakening factor. And you also have Samadhi Sambojjhanga, which is collectedness of the mind awakening factor. The last is equanimity, upekha, awakening factor. Okay. Let's see what we have to do after this. You also start to see Four Noble Truths, which is also in the process of Dhammanupassana. For these Noble Truths is a term, are Dhammas, they are Dhammas. He abides observing phenomena in terms of the Four Noble Truths. And how you do that? Here he understands as it really is, this is suffering. You see, this is whatever that you observe as suffering. This is the arising of suffering, and he understands as it actually is, this is the cessation of suffering. This is a very deep place. You are seeing links of dependent origination here. What is dependent origination? Paticca samuppada here. Things as they arise from conditioning. You can see how craving arises, and you can see how before that you know how feeling arises. Even before that you know how contact happens. Even before that you know how the 6 sense doors work. So now you see, now this is the arising of suffering. And now you can also see, if the 6 sense doors were not there, there will be no contacts. And when there is no contact, then there will be no craving or feeling and craving. See, now cessation you see right there in your mind state. These are very deep states. And also you understand the cessation, you understand the path, that this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. You know for sure that when you exercise in your mind, observing the phenomena like this, you can experience the cessation of suffering, and you know you are on the right path. That nobody has to confirm it with you. Your faith is established so that you know for sure that this, from your understanding, this path is correct. So we are done with Dhammanupassana. We are going to conclude. So even with regard to Four Noble Truths, you can see the Vipassana part involved. That is the number 21 of doing it. Thus he remains observing phenomena internally, he remains observing phenomena externally, or both internally and externally. He remains observing phenomena. Or he remains observing the arising nature of phenomena, he remains observing the nature of passing away of phenomena, or he remains observing the nature of both arising and passing away of phenomena. His mindfulness that there is phenomena is established in him to the extent necessary for bare knowledge. It's just a knowledge for the purpose of continuous mindfulness, and he remains unassociated. You don't really get involved with anything that you are seeing. You don't get excited like, oh, I just saw Four Noble Truths, oh, I just saw 7 awakening factors, I just saw 5 clinging aggregates. You don't get excited like that. That's not required, because it is just to arouse your mindfulness. That is why. It's just a knowledge. You are like, why bother? See? Because some people have too much faith, and they start crying and they run over here and there. They think that they were enlightened just by seeing this. No. You have to let go Dhamma. You have to have so much detachment even to the Dhamma to get to the point, get to the final cessation. That is why it is asking you to do this, not clinging to anything in that world of seeing. Okay? See how important that is? That is Vipassana. In this way too, a monk remains observing phenomena with regard to Four Noble Truths. See, Dhammanupassana went little long. We started with observing the body in 6 ways, and then we went to observe the feelings, and then we went to observe the mind, and we went to observe the phenomena as they happen. In that you have 5 hindrances, 6 internal and external sense doors, 5 clinging aggregates. You also have 7 awakening factors, and you have what? 4 noble truths. You are seeing them. We will finish with this. The sutta now says this unique saying. What does it say? There is a prediction in the sutta. Monks, if anyone should develop these 4 satipatthanas, these 4 ways to establish mindfulness in such a way for 7 years, in this way, not in your way. You have to understand this very well. I told you this morning, you buy something, electronic something from outside, and you plug it in without reading the manual. When things go wrong, you read the manual. That's not the way. You have to first read it and understand this. Listen to the talk well, and then practice this. Then it won't go wrong. The Buddha would never lie. Okay? That's why the Buddha says this thing. Evam bhaveya sattvassani. If you do it this way, not the way that somebody else tell you, not the way that you feel right. It has to be the way that this sutta has presented. Monks, if anyone should develop these 4 satipatthanas in this way for 7 years, one of 2 fruits can be expected for him. Those are the very deep, very last fruits. Either you become an arahant or you become a non-returner. You won't return to the sensual world to suffer. When you are small children, you don't feel like you are suffering because parents take care of everything. But when you lose your best friend sometimes, when you lose the one that you love the most, when you start getting sick, then you see what some parts of suffering. When you stay your hopes lost sometimes, when you get disappointed, when you fail, now you see how this anxiety, tension, suffering arise. This happen to you. You cry sometimes, and you pull your hair out and think of certain things and can't get over it. That is suffering. And you can't go hungry for 7 days, not even 1 day. That is suffering. You don't want to come back to this when you have enough. That happens if you practice this discourse for 7 years. Let's see what it says. So the 2 fruits are these. Either final knowledge here and now, which is becoming an arahant, or if there is a trace of clinging left, non-returner, you become an anagami. You have a trace of clinging to be born in immaterial state. Okay? Now the Buddha changes his prediction a little bit here, saying, let alone 7 years. That says it doesn't have to be 7 years. It could happen within 6 years, or 5 years, or 4 years, or 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 7 months, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, half a month, or within 7 days. How many years have you been practicing meditation? Why it didn't work? It's because you didn't do it the way that the Buddha taught you to do. You kept listening to this Dhamma talk, that Dhamma talk, all the talks in YouTube. You have a whole cup full of Dhamma here, but you didn't do it right. That is why you didn't get there. That is, now the Buddha says, monks, this is why I tell you this is the definite path, direct path, for the purification of beings, for the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance of dukkha and discontent, for the attainment of the true method, for the realization of nibbana, namely the 4 satipatthanas. The monks, it is for that reason that it was said in the beginning. In the beginning, the Buddha, in the beginning of this discourse, the Buddha said, this is the direct path. And now, after explaining all this, the Buddha says, this is why I told you this is the direct path. See how logical the Buddha is? And that is what the Blessed One said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. End of the Satipatthana Sutta. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So there was a monk in Thailand. He has never given any talks. He was a very good meditating monk. People were supporting him. And one day, people thought this monk should know a lot. Maybe he doesn't know how to give Dhamma talks. And this monk was invited to give a Dhamma talk. And people did so much decorations and invited the monk. And the monk accepted the invitation and came and sat on the chair that was prepared. And what? He wasn't giving a talk. He just sat in meditation. It went for about 1 hour. He wasn't talking. All these thousands of people wait out there and he wasn't talking. They thought he went to sleep. He's sleeping, and the chief one came and gave a tap on him. And then the monk opened his eyes. He was mindful, of course. And the chief layperson asked, why are you not giving a talk? We were waiting to listen to your Dhamma talk. And the monk gave his Dhamma talk in 2 words, in Thai language. So the 2 words in English is like this. This is not for listening and talking about, this is for doing. And that's what I'm doing. And then he left. That was his whole Dhamma talk. What we usually do is listening and listening and listening and listening, and you get really rotten with all those ideas of different people, and sometimes they are not even Dhamma, they are just entertainment. And you don't get anywhere. You can go to a movie if you want entertainment. You can just play some guitar or music if you want entertainment. You just need to listen to true Dhamma, listen to the discourses of the Buddha directly, and get it in the language that you understand. I think tomorrow I'll come here and I will say this is for doing, not for talking, and I can go. Then you will have to do it. That's what I should be doing. Let's share some merits. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakhantu loka sasanam chiran rakhantu dhamma desanam chiran rakhantu tang sada abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pacayino cattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevaca Atho nibbana sampatti iminate samijjatu.